Imagine stepping into an abandoned cabin deep in the woods, only to realize you're not alone. The dust on the floor is disturbed. Items are moved, but there's no one there. What unseen entity calls this desolate place home? Tonight, I'll share with you my terrifying experience inside that cabin. An encounter I'll never forget. It happened 3 years ago, during a solo hiking trip in the northern woods. I had been following a narrow trail when I came across a structure I hadn't seen on any map. An old, rotting cabin sitting half hidden behind trees. The roof was sagging, windows shattered, and vines had nearly swallowed it whole. At first, I thought it was just another relic from the past, but the moment I stepped closer, I felt it. The distinct and suffocating sensation of being watched. I brushed it off, telling myself it was my imagination. But locals later told me they avoid that place at all costs. They call it the Watcher's Cabin. Some even say no one enters without carrying the weight of unseen eyes. The inside was worse than the outside. Dust covered the floor, but strange details stood out immediately. A chair had been turned slightly toward the door, as if someone had been expecting me. A book lay open on the table, its pages yellowed and brittle, yet spread wide, as though someone had just been reading. Then came the sounds. Soft creaking upstairs, though the second floor had long collapsed. Faint scratches on the walls, like long nails dragging slowly across the wood. And once, just once, I heard what sounded like footsteps moving deliberately behind me. I tried to rationalize it. Wind, animals, my nerves playing tricks. But the truth is, wind doesn't move furniture. Animals don't pace in rhythm. And no broken floorboard makes the sound of breathing when you're standing completely still. The longer I stayed, the heavier the air felt. It was as if something unseen was pressing down on me, feeding on my unease. My chest tightened, my skin prickled, and I couldn't shake the certainty that I wasn't alone. At one point, I swore I felt warm breath against the back of my neck, even though the room was cold enough to make me shiver. My flashlight began flickering, and in that dim pulse of light, shadows on the wall stretched and shifted, but nothing was there to cast them. I wasn't just scared, I was being studied. The realization sank in. Whatever was inside that cabin wasn't just a presence. It was aware. It was waiting. When I finally worked up the courage to move, I noticed something that stopped me in my tracks. The dust on the floor had been disturbed. Clear as day, faint impressions led from the corner of the room to the doorway. Bare feet, human-sized. I followed them with my light, my heart racing. They stopped abruptly, just outside the door, vanishing into the forest floor, as if the figure had dissolved into the earth. Later, I learned I wasn't the only one. Paranormal investigators had visited the cabin before me. They captured cold spots on thermal cameras, shapes that looked like human figures that disappeared when light hit them, motion sensors triggered in empty rooms. Everyone described the same thing. You're never alone inside that cabin. I left in a panic that night, stumbling through the woods until I found the trail again. But even as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed. The trees felt too still, the silence too deliberate. To this day, I don't know what I encountered inside the Watcher's cabin. Was it a restless spirit? A remnant of something terrible that happened there long ago? Or something far older, something that chooses to remain unseen? What I do know is this: the cabin is still there, waiting. And if you ever find yourself deep in those woods and you see a crumbling house where it shouldn't be, think twice before you step inside, because once you do, you may discover, like I did, that you're not the only one there.